Peace and wisdom, lovely spirits. It's the wise servant here, Mr. Solace. For some percent. Now, today I want to do this very deep video for you guys out there. I don't want to take up too much time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the Native American flute music. I like the howling wolf sounds, and it just brings me to a peaceful state, and this is what a lot of us need to pull for. A peaceful state of being within self. The world's going to be chaotic. That's going to be how it is. And you're going to interact with many different energies throughout your day. But the most important thing is to have a certain state of peace within. That's stable, that can't be, budged so much, And it's a deep thing. I'm not telling you to be a robot. But, you will go through the emotions. But you don't want to be stuck in any particular emotion. You want to have the control, to come and go out of the emotions as you choose. So if anger comes upon you, once the anger comes upon you, you want to acknowledge it and control it and let it go if you choose, or keep it for the moment, for the purpose, or whatever you choose to do. But energy is very interesting. And people have to just get a better understanding of the life, which is truly energy. Many different energies manifesting, energies coming together, creating new energies, but all is one. That's the main thing we need to remember. All is just one thing in many different renditions, but all is one. And if you can truly just grasp one thing to its core, then you know all things. It's truly a deep thing I want you guys to grasp. But in any event, today's video is a Black History Month video. As I said, it's Black History Month on my channel early. So I want to answer a few questions that were asked to me some time ago and some recent. But I want to go on ahead and answer a few questions. Now, the first question is, did Africans give up other Africans into slavery? And this is a very deep thing I want you guys to grasp. Africans, as well as all ancient people, I don't want to say ancient, but, over the history and course of life, once you begin to get people separating into their own groups and tribes and things like this, then you have wars, and I don't want to say wars, but you have quarrels between tribes and families, and loser pretty much is subjected to whatever the winner says. So it's a matter of that. So Africans had slaves already before white people even came into the mix. Now, when white people came, yes, it's true, Africans did give their servants into slavery, you can say. But who they gave away were their slaves already. This is how they perceived it. So I don't want you to get lost and think Africans were giving up their own family, but they were giving up other tribes and other nationalities of people. We have all these different African nationalities bunched together under one umbrella called Africa. But it's a little more complicated than that, but it's not that complicated. You know, you just have many different people that were bunched together in today's times. But in the past, they were just different people the way they viewed it. And like I said, they had war amongst themselves sometimes, and when white men came, they pretty much gave other Africans, as we would call them today, they gave other melanated black people away to the Caucasians, but they didn't actually view them as their people, so to say. So Africans giving up Africans did happen, but they didn't view it as they were giving up their people. So it's deep. They were giving up an opposing tribe people that they slaughtered, and those were those they spared. So for them it was a matter of that. But in today's times you hear a lot of brothers that go for the African thing. They try to make everything about Africa and the African teachings all perfect, and we have to snap out of this foolishness, because in men doing that they truly expose the foolishness and the unbalancedness that lies within, and trying to force a thing on you. So they try to make Africa look better and say, no, they didn't give up African slaves. Africans didn't give up other Africans, and then they eventually admitted and say, no, they did, but when they found out what the Europeans were doing, they fought them. Africans fought the Europeans for what the Europeans were doing directly to them. It was not for whatever was happening in America. Africans had no clue what was going on in America, as they have no clue what's going on in America today, unless they're here. And if they're here, they do not perceive what's happening here how we do. So you have to truly grasp. But I hear this a lot. A lot of people say, oh, the Africans, yeah, they sold their people into slavery, but when they found out what the Europeans were doing, they fought them. And this is just a lie. Africans were going through what the Native Americans were going through before the Native Americans went through that. So you have to grasp. Africans were already going through the slavery that was happening in America. They were going through that hundreds of years before America was even heard of. So y'all have to truly grasp. When the Africans began to fight the whites, it was for what was directly happening there. See, this is how it truly works. Like I said, the Africans, they would give up their servants, which were other Africans. So they would give up their servants to Europeans. And as time go by, you know, Europeans begin to want more. I don't want your servants, but I want you, and I want your land, and you know how that go. And you give up your people, then you realize I need those people, because now we tend to not care about things when it's not happening to us. But those that were selling Africans into slavery, they begin to come across the same fate. So you see how life works? You don't care about your own people. Same color as you give them to the white man for slavery, because you view them as different. And as time goes by, the same thing begins to happen to you. You begin to be oppressed. So this is what the fighting the Europeans and all that, if that even happened, That's where that comes from. But it had nothing to do with slaves that were given up and brought here. Africans can care less about what happens here. Just like men here can care less what happens in Africa. We all act concerned, but no one's truly more concerned than what's going on in their place. So, we have to get real and just stop trying to paint perfect pictures. Africans you see in today's times, they cut each other's arms off over the diamond trade. So you have to grasp, white men are in Africa, exploiting Africa for its diamonds. But they're not out there oppressing the Africans. Other Africans are forcing other Africans to get the diamonds so that they can sell them to the Europeans. So you grasp? And this is the same thing that happened in slavery time. So you have Africans oppressing other Africans. And then they deal with the European. And then it all gets pushed on the European. So the European is responsible for Sierra Leone and Africans getting their arm chopped off. But we completely ignore who's doing this. Those African militant groups, they're doing this. We tend to say, oh no, the European, the whites, they're paying them. Well, whatever. They're paying them is no different than what I said. They're oppressing their own kind, making them get the diamonds so they can sell them to the Europeans. So grasp. And the Europeans are just making themselves more comfortable. And eventually, the African oppresses his people so much he doesn't have any more left, and he's subject to what they are. So it's just a deep thing we have to grasp. But yes, Africans did give up their own. Africans are the most racist people in the world. So racism was born in Africa. It's a deep thing I want y'all to grasp. They don't even view each other as one. The neighboring Africans, all those African nations, they view themselves as completely different than one another. They hate one another. The brothers that teach African history, I'm telling y'all, they don't teach the truth. And I'm not bashing Africa. I have no problem with Africa. I'm just into the truth. Now, I'm not painting a perfect picture of the Native Americans, but they just had a more sense of unity and they had a more better understanding of life than the Africans. The Africans are pretty much like the Europeans. They're more concerned with territory, kingship, ruling and oppressing people. And you can see this on your own. It's a deep thing we have to grasp. Europeans and Africans are not that different. They're like very close in nature, and they're like one and the same people. We confuse color. I don't know who woke up one day and said, color would be what separates people from one another. But somebody woke up and made color the new separation. But before it was color, it was something else. And, it's going from color to, revenue. The rich versus the poor, or not revenue, but status. Kings versus peasants, or however it would be viewed. But Africans and Caucasians are truly not that different. And they've been dealing with one another for a while. So they have a lot of the same ways as one another. The natives of America, they had truly no understandings of that way, of how the Europeans and Africans move. And it shows in the society here. America's still trying to adjust to this way, especially with the blacks. We just can't seem to accept this system. The other nations or nationality of people that you see here that come now, they kind of have this system already set up in their country. And it's been that way for damn near millennia. But America, this is new. We have to really start to grasp that 1492 is not that long ago. And if you consider the system being structured and placed and put into place here, well, it's only been about 100, 200 years at most. So you have to grasp. It really hasn't been that long. They're still trying to get it situated, and it's a deep thing. Now, I want to go into this next question that was asked of me because I took too long on that first question. But the second question is, what is racism? Because a lot of people have racism confused with white supremacy. They have segregation confused. We have all these things bunched as one thing, and it's a deep thing we have to grasp. But what is racism? Racism is nothing but a thought. So racism is not an action or racism is nothing to worry about. It's not important. It's just one's thoughts and perceptions of others. But everyone's entitled to their own thoughts and perceptions. You dig what I'm saying? And we don't need to get lost into people's thoughts or how lost their thoughts may be. So racism is just a matter of a thought. You may view this person as beneath you, or that person as above you, or just racism. Racism is like separation. So you separate. You view people in a separated way. So this is what racism is. But it's all perception. It's all thought. It's not a physical act. Now, if I don't like white people and I slap a white person, that's not racism. That's assault. My reason for assaulting them can be a matter of me being angry at that moment. Could be a matter of me not liking white people, so I slapped him. But assault is assault, and there's many reasons why people assault people. And it all deals with not liking a person, because no one assaults people that they like. You know? You get what I'm saying? If you're robbing someone and you hit him in the face with the gun, that's assault with a deadly weapon, and you didn't truly care about that person. So you may not have been racist. It may have been someone that's your kind. And so this is my point. We tend to tie the acts of racist thoughts as one. And this is just completely absurd. Assault is assault. If someone assaults you with racist thoughts, or they say racist things as they're assaulting you, well, even if a person isn't racist, when they're assaulting someone, they usually say disrespectful things. So this all goes together. I see the law leaning towards jacking the time up for racism attached to acts, and it's just a ploy to make more money off the prison system. It's just a ploy for that, you know, to jack up time on simple charges. So assault is assault, but if it's a racist assault, then it's more time, and that makes no sense. That's foolish. But racism is just a thought, and the act is just an act. Assault, whatever the case may be. You say something racist towards somebody, you know, that is a verbal assault, but it truly has nothing to do with racism. The verbal assault was racist, and I'm sure there was other aspects of the verbal assault besides racism. Just like all verbal assaults will have their sense of racism attached to it, if you can grasp what I'm saying. So we kind of get lost and confound everything. But racism is just a thought, and you truly shouldn't be concerned with how someone perceives you. I mean, we do, because we live in a system where you kind of need others and you're dependent on others. Perception of you and everything. We're all dependent on everyone else for everything, even being happy. So then it kind of means something. But racism is just a thought, truly means nothing. Now, what is supremacy or white supremacy? White supremacy is truly nothing. There's no such thing as white supremacy. We confuse the elite, the oppressor, like the government. This is the things we call the hierarchy. Now, this has nothing to do with color, but this has to do with status. Kings versus slaves, or citizens as y'all like to be called. This has to do with that. So, the elite or the government or the ruler of the country can care less of the color of the person. Now, of course, white people do get favored because the elite, or those who run this place, are Caucasian themselves. So, somebody's going to always get a benefit out of something if Obama was the president. So I'm sure his wife and kids got a whole lot of privilege that a lot of us didn't get. And it just come with the territory. But, he's still a black man that's a slave no different than your ass. He's just done a little better for himself in the slave system by going with the order better than you. So it doesn't make him better. It actually makes him worse as a person. But I don't want you guys to get confused and say, oh no, there's a white supremacy. There's no white supremacy. There's just white organizations that are racist. And they do racist acts to one another, to other races. And the elite that rule this country, they let things like that slide. They truly don't care. But they truly don't care about anyone. So you can't really get lost and say, oh, they care about, they're not looking like, oh, we have to make sure white people are good. I don't give a fuck about them either. But it's like you. Well, you might overlook some shit if it's your skin complexion. So it's just a matter of that. But white people are in the same conditions and subjected to the same things we are. They out here getting killed by police and all the same things as us. We need to all get real in life and just realize this. We have racist thinking people. We have racism. But it's just a matter of ignorance because the people that are truly racist, they have no power. They oppress just like those they hate. So it's a deep thing you have to grasp. You got the KKK, they have no real true power. They're not supreme. They just do what they do. They get away with a lot of things we may don't, but call it favoritism. But white people are not supreme over you. We tend to walk around thinking white people have different lives than us. They out here suffering too. Y'all got life all wrong and confused, and we get lost in the things that happen to us and we forget everybody else suffering bad. You got people in these third world countries, man, they going through worse stuff than any black person ever went through. Like, truly grasp. The natives here, they ain't suffer as bad as y'all like to think. They went through their stuff. But, they mainly was just breeded in the history and very important things in life that don't have to do with the physical was robbed of the people of this land. But the people, they didn't suffer that much physically, the wars and things like this, regular things. But you got people being like horribly oppressed that no one cares about anyone's oppression. So that's the point. Like I said, the rich work together. The poor don't. The elite work together. The slaves don't. So the slaves oppress one another. We all view one another how we view one another. So it's a matter of the oppression is like self-passed on. The system, the oppressed keep the system going. So if I have more than you, then I look down on you. And the person that has more than me, they look down on me. And we're all the oppressed, oppressing one another. And it's truly a deep thing. We have to all just begin to grasp that it doesn't matter how much fake illusion you have. Because that's all these things are. Followers, subscribers, money, material things. And this is what we tend to judge one another by. This is how you're placed into certain statuses. And it's deep because we all truly have nothing. We all truly own nothing. No one has any real resources or land. So We all just competing against one another in the game, which oppresses us. And it's a sad thing. We have to just truly begin to realize that everybody in life been screwed over. White people been screwed over more than any race on the planet because their people took over this country and they suffer. Grasp how deep that is. If you white, I know you be pissed. Like, what the fuck? What's the point of being white, man? I still can go to jail? What the fuck? Like, I still gotta obey the law. I still gotta work too. So y'all look at this wrong. Y'all think white people feel good. They feel horrible. They like, what was the point? What was the point of all these Caucasian nations coming together and taking this place over so only a small family could run it? And we all still, so, you know, white people use their own. They don't care. They like, yeah, we gonna all take over the country. Don't worry, I got y'all. As soon as they bring all the white people here and they take over, then they oppress them too with everybody else. Like, man, shut up. Shut your ass up. I ain't promised you nothing. So it's cold-blooded. It's like I said, racism ain't real. It's a cold-blooded deep thing. But someone also asked me, what is segregation? And segregation is just separation, but it's not a supremacy thing. You don't have to be rich or supreme to segregate yourself. Or there's segregation in the ghetto, in the hood, and everybody there is black. There's segregation in Hollywood, and everybody there is mostly white. And there's segregation in the suburbs. And there's segregation everywhere. So segregation really don't have nothing to do with race. But, you know, there are things that happen. There are segregations that happen that was a matter of race. And then you have just the common segregation where it just happens. So, you know, segregation is just separation. So I'm fly, you a bum, we both live in the ghetto, we both oppressed and poor, trying to make it through the day. But I wear Jordans all the time and I'm kind of fly. And you wear like Payless shoes. So there's that kind of segregation in the ghetto. And the fly kind of look down on the those that are not as fly. And there's a little order of segregation there. And you have racial segregation where, you know, white people live here and black people have to live here. But it's not a matter of elite. It's a matter of black people's perspective. See, they want to be a part of white people's thing. So they look at the segregation in a racial way. They don't look at it as, we don't really want to hang out with white people and really do, we segregate ourselves from them. We got hip-hop. We don't want them a part of our thing. We like, get out of here. Yeah, Eminem is not, he really good, but so what? Like, we bet this our thing. Get him out of here. Like, let us have our shit. So we all got our segregation. There's always going to be that segregation aspect. And black people just tend to look at everything racially. So it's like a weird thing. But it truly has nothing to do with elite and all this weird stuff in race. It's just segregation. Like I said, white people took over this place. People are just letting, I don't want to say white people, but because it's just a small group that runs the world. And this small group is mostly made up of Caucasians. So we tend to just let them put us all against one another and play this stupid Monopoly game. So being as though we let that happen, being as though most of them are Caucasians, well, Caucasians get a little bit better treatment than us, but it really doesn't matter when you look at it from the whole perspective because they're in the same boat we in. And you know they don't want to live around black people. And it doesn't necessarily have to always be a segregation thing. It could be just the way they live. I don't want to live like they live. And we make it racial. Oh, they just want to blah, blah, blah. But the question is, why not make your place like the Caucasian's place? Therefore, you don't be reaching to be a part of where you're not wanted. So we get mad. Oh, This award show don't have enough black people. Make your own award show. Oprah has her own television network. But I don't even want to go into that. But get your own networks. It's not hard to do. We just don't do shit. We just complain about people not letting us a part of they thing. Mind you, they have they thing. Everybody got they thing. We need to get our thing and stop being the tag along in the carry on. Like, it's just pathetic. White people have they award shows, and they don't have to include you if they don't want to. Make your own. It's just weird, but that's what segregation is. Now, a coon, by lost black definition, because I've already explained that coon is a Native American tribe. This is what, not a tribe, but within all Native American tribes, you had clans. And this was just a different way of life that people from the tribes could have chose to live. So in today's times, we have religion, and everybody's kind of thrown into maybe 2 or 3 religions. That's the options: Christian, Muslim, and whatever weird other religion you can find, you know. But in the natives' way, they had, you know, the life basically, and every tribe had many different aspects of the life that you could have lived, or, you know, a philosophy you could have lived by. And these clans were put into the animals' names, like Snake Clan, Wolf Clan, Raccoon, which is, they called coon, the beaver. So they called the raccoon the coon, and Coon Clan. So this is where coon came from. When a person was called a coon, it was just the clan they were associated with. But, you know, as white people begin to take over and they begin to oppress and they begin to call people by their names, the own name don't sound right when it's coming from someone who's oppressing you. So, but according to lost black men of today, their definition of coon would basically be a black person that upholds the system and justifies the system, and they support white supremacy in their ignorance, you know? And they kind of go with the oppression and ignorance. And this is what a lost black man of today would call a coon. And it's deep, because the lost black men of today that call other black men coons, they truly are the coon by their definition, because they vote. Tariq Nasheed has voted before. He uses that word a lot. I'm sure Dr. Umar Johnson has voted before. He uses that word a lot. And when you vote, you're acknowledging that you're a slave. You're acknowledging that you want a leader or a ruler over you. If someone's taking over your land and they lead and they rule over you, you don't have to acknowledge that with self. You can say this is what it is, but as far as me playing along with your game, I mean, I'm not doing that. You're not going to have me voting for who's going to be my leader, because I acknowledge myself as my own leader. So I cannot subscribe to that in any way. But we have lost black men today. They tell everybody to vote. They believe that they're a part of the system and this is going to help them. And if we vote, we could get rights, and you don't never really get any. But they believe this lost way of thinking. And they vote, and voting and things like this, this is what holds up the system. When we all acknowledge it and play along with it, and we all wake up and go to work like slaves, and we all vote, and we all tap dance and play by the rules of the system. So this is how the system is upheld. We all play our part. And if you vote and you have the audacity to call someone a coon, you're bugging. If you vote, there's nothing more coonish than that, according to lost black men definition of coon. There's nothing more coonish than that. If you vote, I know a lot of people vote, so we like to justify the foolish things we do just because we did it, not thinking about the cause and effect of that justification. So you can justify it and say, no, Solace, you stupid, you don't get it. But in that, people will continue to vote and acknowledge that they're a slave and just continuously, year after year, be fools. Mind you can just accept the truth and say, you know what, brother, you're right. And being as though I voted out, it hurts me to hear you say that truth. But you're dead damn right. And I'm going to stop with that shit, because I ain't with it. But that's not what's going to happen. People are going to get mad and say, oh, Solace, you think they're going to... And it doesn't bother me, but I'm like, see, this is what just keeps us in the same place. Solace speaks against the other teachers and they coonery and buffoonery and, oh, but what about you, Solace? And it just doesn't get the ball rolling. We just keep justifying foolishness. I don't get it. But it's weird. At the end of the day, Tariq Nasheed and all these other, because he's a coon, like, I've been paying attention to this brother lately. He's a goddamn coon. He got coon awards and all type of buffoonery. He's a grown goddamn man. That's fucking, excuse my language. That's absurd. He should be ashamed of himself. He is a goddamn asshole. I just don't understand where black people are going in today's times. We actually subscribe to the stupidest people. When you get to the point as a black person where you have the time to come up with a coon award, where you give other black people coon awards, yet we have so many problems oppressing us. But you make yourself a little money, so you're not really concerned with the oppression. So now you have vital time on your hand to come up with coon awards and stupid things like this. And Dr. Umar Johnson, he has time on his hand to shuck and jive and do all the coonery and buffoonery that he's doing. This is why he can't successfully get his school built, which he never planned on getting built anyway. But I just sit back and I watch all these old stupid-ass niggas that y'all respect so much. And I stand on what I say. They stupid-ass, dumb-ass niggas. I would tell them this shit in their face. Now, I wouldn't just walk up to one of them if I seen them in public and say, hey, nigga, you a stupid dumb. No. I'm not into disrespecting people. I'm just into the truth. Now, I said what I said if one of them heard me. And we in the same place one day and they like, yeah, I'm expecting him to say that shit to my face. I said it already and you heard what I said. And if you didn't, then that's good for you. You can stay in peaceful spirits not having heard that. But if I'm ever called on anything I said, I stand on whatever the hell I ever said. If I say these niggas is coons, that's what they are. Always. Till they change. My words don't change because I'm in a nigga's face. So grasp. My words are changed when he changed. Other than that, Tariq Nasheed, Umar Johnson, and many of the elders in the community are coons. And they're stupid. And I just like to push things out flat, simple. No sugar, no salt, no flavor on it. And give it to you how it is. You're a coon, you're an old dumbass nigga. And y'all out here pushing this old dumb slave conditioned brain way of thinking that y'all had for years on the youth. Y'all want the youth to walk around mad at white people because y'all walk around mad at white people because y'all were oppressed more than we are in today's times because y'all more pussy and y'all went with the foolishness more than we do now. So that's what it is. Y'all are coons. Things look sloppy now, but that's because